One Championship, the premier martial arts group and the largest global sports media property in Asian history. And its founder, chairman, and CEO. What an inspirational story. Chatri Sityodtong, thank you so much. Tell us about One Championship. Give us a small taste of what this great sports entity is all about.
Thank you so much, Jim. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you. One Championship, as you noted, is Asia's largest global sports media property in history. And it's a celebration of Asia's greatest cultural treasure, martial arts, and the deep-rooted values of integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, discipline, compassion, and so forth. And really, it's in the same way that every region of the world has several multi-billion-dollar sports media properties that are part of the fabric of society, culture, history, tradition. So, for example, in the U.S., it's NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. In Europe, it's EPL, Champions League, F1. Asia, when I started the company 8 years ago, had literally nothing on a pan-Asian or global level. And so I wanted to create Asia's first global multi-billion-dollar sports media property that wanted to celebrate Asia's greatest cultural treasure, which is martial arts. You know, martial arts was born in Asia, 5,000-year history here on the continent, and I wanted to showcase the very best martial arts in the world, very much like the Olympics. Gather the very, very best martial arts from every region of the world and create a world championship series. So the fans all over the world could not only watch incredible action and excitement, but they could have role models and heroes that they can be inspired, because the vast majority of our athletes come from humble backgrounds of poverty, adversity, tragedy, and so forth. And so they have incredible, incredible life stories that really can inspire, millions and eventually billions of people around the world to live their greatest life, to live their greatest dreams, to overcome their adversities, to overcome their setbacks in life. And so, our mission at One Championship, which is very, very different from any other fight promotion in the world, is our mission is to unleash real-life superheroes who ignite the world with hope, strength, dreams, and inspiration. Versus our competitors, their mission is to sell fights or to sell pay-per-view. We don't sell fights, we build heroes.
It's a really interesting concept, and the events themselves, not only building heroes, not only action-packed, but also respect, values, morality. Some of the things you've already mentioned are so important. What do you think about today's MMA, mixed martial arts, today's sports in general? Because in various sports, there is the trash talking. But One Championship doesn't do that. It's all about the respect and about the sport. And what made you as an entrepreneur and also as someone that has been trained in Muay Thai? What was your brainstorm, your thinking behind doing it this way?
Well, there's a couple of things, but yes, I'm a lifelong martial arts. I've been doing it for over 35 years. I still train every day. I've been a student, a fighter, a teacher, a coach, and now a CEO. And I felt the West was misportraying what real martial arts is truly about. And again, with a 5,000-year history here in Asia and being the birthplace of martial arts, I wanted to showcase the very best of not only martial arts, but the very best of humanity. Because you see, at the end of the day, martial arts, any martial arts will tell you that one of the biggest benefits of martial arts is that you inherit integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, discipline, compassion, discipline from all these thousands of hours of training in martial arts. So yes, there's a physical element of martial arts, which is the beautiful kicks and punches and artistry. But there's a deeper meaning of martial arts, which is basically unleashing greatness in human beings by instilling these incredible values. And so this is what One Championship is about. We really want to showcase not only the very best martial artists in the world, but we want to showcase the very best human beings in the world who can inspire the world. I think about my role very deeply as CEO of Asia's largest global sports media property, in the sense that I am impacting, my team and I and our athletes are impacting culture, values, role models for society, and how children treat each other, how they treat their parents, how little boys treat little girls. Because, children look up to sports heroes. And so I feel a very deep sense of responsibility to showcase the very best of humanity. So what I always say is, look, our formula of success is values, heroes, and stories. Literally those three pillars. Values, every family would love to celebrate wholesome values that I just had spoke about: the integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, respect, compassion. Every country can be inspired by a hero who brings glory and honor to his or her country, much like the Olympics. And the third pillar, stories. Every human being on the planet needs hope, strength, inspiration from stories. And that's how oftentimes we make a better world, is when people who are in difficult situations, and all of us have been in difficult situations, whether it's a family, sickness or death, or a big setback in life, or a failure, or sickness. It could be anything. And the point is, we want to be a beacon of positive energy and hope and strength and dreams for every person on the planet. And we do it through the showcasing of the best of humanity, the best of martial arts. And if you think about it, this is the formula that Olympics uses. Olympics, every 4 years, 1 billion viewers, the most watched sporting event on the planet, with 1 billion viewers. They're basically showcasing the best of humanity with the best athletes in the world by showcasing not only the incredible action, but the incredible spirit of honor and respect and humanity, quite frankly. So that's why Olympics is Olympics. It celebrates the very best of sports, but the very best of humanity as well.
Well, Chatri, even with that, do you feel like because of how society has evolved, and especially here in the United States, in North America, there's a lot happening around the world. But in mentioning some of the things you mentioned, there's a lot going on with our children, our youth, even with social media. It's just crazy to see all these school shootings and all these different horrific things that are happening. Do you feel like this is a really good time to bring One Championship and expand it into America and sort of help out a little bit?
Yes, most definitely. Our formula of values, heroes, and stories has not only inspired nations in every country we've been out here in Asia, but has literally united countries. I'll give you an example. Our hero in Myanmar, Aung San, he's the middleweight champion as well as the light heavyweight champion in One Championship. He literally unites 54 million people around his life story, around his achievements, around his values. And, and Myanmar is a country historically that has had tremendous civil strife and civil wars. But every Myanmar person can agree that Aung San is a hero, and every Myanmar person is proud and uses his life story, incredible life story, for inspiration for their own dreams to make a better country. So when I look at that, of course, I definitely believe that, the sad thing we see today is whether it's media always writing about war, rape, murder, trade wars, school shootings, or whatever it is sensationalist. You see it's very negative. Then you look at social media, everyone complaining about their boss or about their husband or wife, or their life sucks, all the trolls. There's so much negative energy all over the world. And my team and I, we want to be a beacon of hope and positivity for the world. And I feel like right now, if I look at the U.S., it's a very strange time. You know, I lived in the U.S. for 18 years. I left the country, call it about 12 years ago. I don't recognize the U.S. I see today on the news versus the U.S. that I had spent my early adulthood and my life there. You know, the America that I experienced in my 18 years was one of strength and unity and hope and love and the American dream. And there's a real sense of positivity in the air that anything was possible. There's a real sense of I'm proud to be American. When I lived there, with all Americans, you could just see it. Today, I have friends, obviously I have a lot of close friends in America, and they'll tell me, like, you know, it's changed. There's so much divisiveness. There's so much anger and hatred. There's so much a sense of, not unity, but a sense of trying to blame others for problems. And this divisiveness, I'd say, it's unfortunate. You know, America is still one of the greatest countries in the world, in my eyes, and I believe something like One Championship, bringing in positive values, bringing in wholesome heroes, you know, telling inspirational stories. I do believe that One Championship is something that America craves and needs. And I think the timing is perfect in that our product, our brand, our approach, our DNA, our values is completely fresh and new, and there is nothing comparable in the U.S. to what One Championship represents and stands for. So I think the American fans are in for a huge treat, and I think the timing is right for something fresh and uplifting and uniting to celebrate the very best of American heroes.
Turner Sports reached a partnership 3 years with One Championship. So now between BR Live, Bleacher Report Live, and also TNT, you can check out the action. It's already been, I believe, in January 2019, early 2019, that already started. There's going to be a total of 12 episode re-airs on TNT that have already been some already. Big one coming up is Sunday, October 13th from Tokyo. It's the historic 100th show. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that and just how proud of you that you're going to be having this big event in Tokyo, 100 shows.
You know, it's funny because when I look back on this journey, you know, it's been such a crazy roller coaster ride, up and down, and so, you know, we've broken so many records, made history in so many different countries. It's a big homecoming for me. You know, I'm half Japanese, to come to Japan with our 100th show. It's a huge milestone for the company, but it's a huge milestone for me on a personal level, just to be able to come to my mother's homeland and celebrate, you know, this incredible achievement. So it's mind-boggling to me. It's just, I feel like I'm living in a fairy tale dream right now.
What are the progressive, more expansive plans for One Championship with America and with American viewers? Might we see shows over here as well?
Right. Most definitely. We have been in high-level discussions with Turner senior executives. they see massive potential in one championship and our partnership to really do something big in the U.S. So I'll just say stay tuned, but definitely we are on track to throwing our first event in the U.S. next year.
And you could check that out too with Bleacher Report Live, which I think is interesting because you can also see some live events of One Championship there or watch the re-airs on TNT. And Turner Sports is very, very active, involved in One Championship. Chatri, how did you win them over? Was it just your experience? Was it the message, the drive? How did you guys come together, Turner Sports and One Championship?
Well, Turner is the home of NBA, and obviously they have got Champions League as well, and they work with the world's best sports properties, and they have a new property, AEW. So, they set the landscape, and they felt that One Championship's product, our values, our brand, everything resonated with what they wanted to do. And I think, huge things are going to be happening. And I do believe in the future, TNT will air One Championship events live, and we will have events live on ground in the U.S. as well.
Well, as I mentioned, 12 episodes re-airing on TNT already started. They're going to have the big one Sunday, October 13th. That's the historic 100th show from Tokyo. Got a few shows coming up in November, then in December. So it's really a great time for everybody to check out One Championship. And you mentioned AEW, which I think is interesting. That's All Elite Wrestling. And I know that's different. It's pro wrestling, obviously scripted, but they're athletes. You've seen crossover between MMA and pro wrestling. I was wondering your thoughts if you ever met the Khan family. The Khan family is very behind AEW, and now you guys are going to be all on the same Turner Sports family. I'm just curious if you had talking to them at all about this project or anything like that, or maybe even doing something together. I don't know if that would work well, but I thought I'd ask anyway. A One Championship AEW combo show.
Definitely. Definitely, I think Turner has something like that in mind. To do cross promotions, to do some fun stuff together. All this stuff is right now in discussion, and hopefully I'll have something soon to announce in the next few weeks.
What are your thoughts also of UFC? I know you have involvement. Rich Franklin, Misha Tate are vice presidents of One Championship. You also have Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, Eddie Alvarez, Sage Northcutt as part of the roster competing. I'm curious what your thoughts of what UFC has been able to do. Do you have a good working relationship with them? I know it's two separate entities, but I'm just curious of your thoughts of UFC, Dana White, and any interactions you've had with them.
I think that One Championship and UFC's approach are 180 degrees diametrically opposite from each other. I think I have tremendous respect for UFC. We just bring a different product, different brand, and different values to what UFC does. And I think UFC has done very well in its home market in America. It's no secret that the world has now become a global duopoly in terms of combat sports. So it's UFC in the Western Hemisphere and One Championship in the Eastern Hemisphere. And I don't know, UFC probably has like an 80% market share or so in the Western Hemisphere. We have a 90% market share out here in the Eastern Hemisphere. But I think that's where the similarities end. I think, the companies are very, 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 very different.
Do you have any thoughts as far as anybody that's on the One Championship roster participating in pro wrestling or any other type of sports? Or do you want them exclusively with you when they're part of your roster?
So typically they are exclusive. All of our athletes are exclusive on our roster. But again, we are open to, working with whether it's WWE or AEW in terms of cross-content collaboration. I think there's a lot of opportunities.
And what are your thoughts, too, about WWE? Because that's interesting, too. Again, it's another element that's out there, and they're global, and what they've been able to do. Just what are your thoughts overall of a company like that?
WWE, obviously tremendous. I mean, I have a lot of respect, and they've done phenomenally well, not only in the U.S., but as you said, scale globally. So, we're definitely open to working with WWE as well. I think there could be a lot of interesting cross-promotional stuff we could do.
It really is interesting. It's a whole nother dynamic. But I want to ask this too. The sense that because they're so different as far as how you present them, when you look at a lot of American sports, not just the pro wrestling, sports entertainment, not just the MMA, UFC, or Bellator, or any other promotions, when you look at other sports, NFL you mentioned earlier, or NBA, there is, as you noted, and as we know, a lot of trash talking. Do you think it's a challenge for One Championship to bring that over to America and say, look, we can do these events and put on great shows and have great matches, but we don't have to do all the trash talking? Or do you think there's a challenge there because people are going to be like, hey, or some people will be like, hey, where's the trash talk?
I guess we'll have to see, but I think the formula has worked in so many different countries. We're, in our core markets, we're number one or number two as a sports property against all the top global sports properties out here in Asia. So whether it's NBA or F1 or Champions League or EPL, we're number one or number two in all of our core markets here in Asia. So I think what we're doing, and remember, Asia has democratic governments, autocratic governments. It has constitutional monarchies. In terms of religions, there are Muslim nations, there are Buddhist nations, there are Hindu nations, there are Christian nations. Asia is as diverse as possible in terms of cultures across the entire continent, and yet our content has resonated with all these different countries with different backgrounds and cultures and customs and governments, et cetera. So I think U.S. is another country we just have to tailor it to the U.S. market, but we're going to stay true to our values and true to our DNA. Our athletes are heroes to the world. These are not thugs, and as I mentioned at the very beginning, I think very deeply about my role as CEO of Asia's largest sports media property and our impact on society, culture, values, our impact on children and how they think and how they behave and how they treat their parents, how they treat each other, what little girls think about themselves, about the world. There's so much that One Championship does that's far, far beyond and far bigger than just a moment in time with one event. We are here to unleash real-life superheroes to ignite the world with hope, strength, dreams, and inspiration.
Well, in that sense, then, obviously, is it a key fact that the social media, Turner Sports, the BR Live, TNT, and even the presence of a Rich Franklin, a Misha Tate, and getting them involved is what you need to do to sort of market it to America and have show it and have these people who are known in America to go out there and spread the message and to get the message out? Hey, here's what.
I just want to hire the very, very best people in the world to work alongside me at One Championship, but also people not only the best in what they do, but also I want them to exemplify the very best of humanity, exemplify the values that One Championship espouses. And Rich Franklin and Misha Tate, not only incredible world champions and legends, but they are really good human beings, good people that I really admire, and they're friends, quite frankly. So yeah.
All right, Chatri, I want to thank you so much for spending the time. I know, and for you, what an inspirational story too, because about your background, and tell me if I'm wrong or I'm correct on all this, because there were some struggles obviously early on in your life growing up, and your mother raised the family, and you ended up earning a BA degree in economics from Tufts University and obtaining an MBA from Harvard Business School, and really have been able to help with your mom and all, been really able to cultivate yourself and build yourself up and be able to do the good things that you're doing. It's a true inspirational story in that realm as well. I just wanted to let you express yourself and just about what you've been able to accomplish so far, and to send that positive message out to others that might have struggles of their own.
Yeah, so, when people ask me today about my days in poverty, after my parents went bankrupt and my father abandoned the family, I'm full of gratitude and appreciation for those days, because those really tough days taught me many lessons about life, many lessons about people, but it also gave me a fire in my belly to do something great with my life, to do something big with my life in terms of helping others. When you go from eating one meal a day, watching your mother suffer and cry, it really makes a deep, deep impression on you. And so when I look at what championship represents, and with our values, heroes, and stories, I realize that my life has really come full circle in that, in my darkest days, I wish I had tons of role models and superheroes, real-life superheroes who had incredible stories, who conquered adversity and tragedy and poverty and whatnot, to help give me hope that I could also do it. And so the very essence of what One Championship is my own life story, follows a very similar trajectory. So this mission of One Championship is very, very personal to me. And again, ultimately, One Championship is here to do good in the world, and it's here to change the world for the better.
Yes, Chatri, thank you so much. I'm going to end it with this, because One Championship, for anybody in America, well, other places too, but want to make sure that Americans know that they can check it out on TNT, and they can also see it on BR Live, and it's part of the Turner Sports family. And I noticed something. Sunday, October 13th, we talked about it, the historic 100th show of One Championship. Great accomplishment. It'll be from Tokyo. I noticed this, that Brandon the Truth Vera, who will be on that show, he got to do an interview with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. They were promoting the movie Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. I was wondering if you got a chance to see that. Your thoughts about your man, The Truth, and also about The Rock.
I'm a huge Dwayne Johnson fan, a huge The Rock fan. I love his new movie, Hobbs and Shaw. And yeah, it was incredible to watch two giants from different industries, meet up. I love Brandon Vera, outstanding world champion for us, outstanding individual, and exemplifies everything that is good about humanity. The Rock as well. The Rock is, obviously a mega movie superstar, but he's just kind. He wants to use his platform and his voice to do good in the world. And so, yeah, it was, we had set that up, but it was definitely a fun, magical moment for Brandon and the Rock to meet from opposite sides of the world. And I think it was a win-win. It'll help to promote the Hobbs and Shaw movie, but at the same time help to promote One Championship.